offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of great Narayana, unto Narayana Rishi, the supreme human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, unto Sri Shastre, the author. Nashtaprayeshu bhakteshu mityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavate bhakti bhaktir bhavati naishkiti. By the guidance and classes from Bhagavatam and by the giving of service to the pure devotee, all the struggles of the heart is almost control, and loving service unto the personality of God, whose praise and transcendental songs is established as an irrevocable fact. Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and was spiritual opened my eyes to the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Chapter 2. Text 50 to 61 we have covered today. 57 is for recitation. So we'll start with the 50 because that's where it is. Maybe we can take turns with the translation.
Yeah. Abhinav. 50.
There was once a hunt lured birds with food and captured them after spreading a net. He lived as if appointed, yet personified as the killer of the birds.
While wandering in the forest, the hunter saw a pair of cooing birds. Of the two, the female was captivated by the hunter's lure.
The male Kuninga bird, his wife, put into the greatest danger in the earth of providence, became very unhappy because of affection. The poor bird, eager to release her, began to lament for his wife.
Alas, how merciless is Providence! My wife, unable to be helped by anyone, is in such an awkward position and lamenting for me. What will Providence gain by taking away this poor girl? What will be the profit?
When God Providence takes away your right, who is my body, why should he not take me also? Why is the use of marrying with half of my body? Beware by loss of my mind, till I delight in this world.
The unfortunate baby birds, bereft of mother, are waiting in the nest for her to feed them. They are still very small and have not yet grown their wings. How shall I be able to maintain them?
Because of the loss of his wife, the Kulinga bird lamented with tears in his eyes. Meanwhile, following him, hidden in the distance, released his arrow, which tears the body of Kulinga bird and killed him.
Thus Yamaraj, in the guise of a small boy, told all the queens, "You are all so foolish that you lament, but do not see your death. Afflicted by a poor fund of knowledge, you do not know that even if you lament for your dead husband for hundreds of years, you will never get him back alive, and in the meantime, lives will be finished."
Hiranya's Kasipu said while Yamraj in the form of small boy was instructing all the relatives surrounding the dead body of Sushma. Everyone was stuck, wondered by his philosophical words. They could have done that everything material is temporary, not continuing to exist.
After instructing all the foolish relatives of Suyajana, Yamraja in the form of a boy disappeared from their vision. Then the relatives of King Suyajana performed the ritualistic funeral ceremonies.
None of you should be agreed for the loss of the world, whether your own or those of others. Only in ignorance does one make moral decisions, thinking, who am I, who are the others, what is mine, what is for others.
Sri Narada Muni continued. Diti, the mother of Hiranyakasipu and Hiranyaksha, heard the actions of Hiranyakasipu along with her daughter-in-law, Rishabhanu, Hiranyaksha's wife. She then forgot her grief over her son's death and thus engaged her mind and attention in understanding the real philosophy of life.
We'll come to 57 in a minute. We will just
take a step back to go through the setting of this particular section. So there is a story within a story within a story within a story. There are 4 stories going on in this particular section. So the story that we are talking about is given by Yamaraj in the form of a small boy to the wives of King Suyagnya. And he's giving the story of the Kulinga part. That's what we just read. That entire story is narrated by Yamaraj to wives of, because they were lamenting the death of their husband. Their husband got killed in the battle. He's a king, so he got killed in the battle, and the lamenting, not allowing the body to be cremated, not allowing funeral rites to be done. So, and they were crying so loud that Yamaraj came down just to pacify them, not in his original form as a small boy. And he started to give the valuable lessons on the eternality of soul, and the body is not going to last was a point of grieving. Soul eternal was a point of grieving. So this is also a teaching of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says that soul is eternal. Here to Arjuna is telling soul is eternal, there is no need for lamentation. At the same time, the body something is perishable was a point of lamentation. So that way is giving him that knowledge. The same is repeated by Yamaraj here. So who's teaching this? In fact, like who's teaching this particular lesson to whom? So this story was the first. The previous story is Hiranyakashipu, who is going to be the main actors in this particular section of Bhagavad Gita 7, is teaching this lesson to his relatives also. And who are his relatives? They are his nephews, his brother's wife and his mom, Didi. So Didi had 2 sons in captivity. We heard that Didi's 2 sons were killed by Lord himself, Lord Vishnu. The first one was Hiranyaksha, who was killed by Lord Varahadev. And now Hiranyakashipu. So this is Hiranyakashipu speaking to his mom, so not to lament, and to his relatives. Why? Because Hiranyaksha was killed by Lord Varahadev, and he wanted to take revenge on the Lord himself. So he is preparing himself. He is giving very, very lessons. In fact, Hiranyakashipu, although he is demonic, he also the lessons of the soul, that one should not lament for something that is not going to last. He's also giving a lesson. And he says that I am going to behead Lord, I'm going to kill him. He's preparing himself. And to set the stage, he has asked all his followers, his followers who are used to destroy the Brahminical culture. So that's how it started, destroy Brahminical culture right in that age also. So his followers go to all the places to destroy wherever there are yajnas, wherever there are rituals, pious activities happening, to desecrate that and to destroy it. So he is sent all his followers to various places. So meanwhile he is also speaking to the relatives not to lament. And who's speaking this lesson? To who? This lesson is being spoken by Narad Muni to Yudhishthira Maharaj during the Rajasuya Yajna. So Yudhishthira Maharaj was bewildered in the Rajasuya Yajna that Shishupal, who is the cousin of Krishna, was killed by Krishna by his Sudarshan Chakra, and the soul entered him, the body of Krishna. He got Sayuj liberation, Shishupal. And Yudhishthira Maharaj became very bewildered. There are transcendentalists who are actually doing so many austerities, performing so many Vedic sacrifices throughout their life, in fact dedicated to the Lord, and they are not getting this kind of liberation. Whereas this envious person who out of envy was deriding Krishna. How many times like Krishna waited for?
99.
100th time he didn't allow that. So he separated his speaking part of the body from the rest of the body by Sudarshan Chakra. So that was very bewildering for the people in the assembly. How can this happen when people who are actually in positive, who are transcendentalists, don't get this liberation, whereas people who are envious and angry towards Krishna will get this kind of liberation. Narmuni says that whoever can concentrate on the Lord in total absorption, either positive or negative, can get this liberation. He says that Lord is not partial. even if one is with anger or envy, can become fully absorbed in the Lord, can get this kind of liberation. So that's what Nagamuni had told to Yudhishthira. But we as Rupanugas have one instruction from Rupa Goswami. What is that instruction that we have? Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana kamathanavritam anukulena Krishna anushilanam bhaktiruttama. Anukulena. We have to do anukula seva, not that we envious and show anger towards the Lord. That's not what we are following. Whereas Nagamuni has said that Yudhishthira Maharaj, whoever can, because that was the situation. Krishna gave him Sayuja liberation. He could get his, there is a background again. Nagamuni explains the background. These are not ordinary people also. They are the associates of the Lord in Vaikuntha, Jay and Vijaya. They had actually become, they got into the mood of duality. When the four Kumaras tried to enter Vaikuntha, they tried to stop them, thinking that these small kids, what purpose they have in Vaikuntha. So that means it's looking at someone with dual vision, like these are my friends, these are not friends. So that kind of mentality cannot exist in Vaikuntha. In Vaikuntha, it is samadana. Everyone is equal and everyone is a devotee of the Lord. Whereas Jay and Vijay could appreciate that these people are small people, what could they do in Vaikuntha? So who are you? Why did you come? They stopped them at the gate. And four Kumaras, looking at these associates of the followers of Krishna, Jai Vijay, they said this mentality cannot exist in here. This place is free from this duality. You should go to a place where this feeling or this mentality exists, which is material world. In the material world that exists, between our friends, enemies, which is required, but not in Vaikuntha. We see in the material world through the modes, not that they are my friend, they are my enemy. We see them through the modes. What are the different modes that we know of?
Goodness, passion,
And ignorance. So someone is very ignorant. We don't share our heart with them. So we don't say he's not my friend. We'll say he is in the mode of ignorance. So even if I share, it will not be used. It will be taken in a negative way or a different way, to their advantage, to my disadvantage. And similarly for mode of passion also, they will, it's the same, passion and ignorance, only mode of goodness. So we see people through the modes. We don't judge, we should not judge them, rather see them through the modes in which they are operating. So that exists in material world. In spiritual world that does not. So they are cursed to take, and they realize immediately, oh wow, what did I do? We have these associates, they are in fact Lord Vishnu comes running to their rescue. We read all this in the third canto. Lord Vishnu came and actually apologized on behalf of the associates. And he glorifies the Kumaras, you are Brahmanas, I keep your feet on my head. The dust of it goes on my head. That's what Lord Vishnu was glorifying the Brahmanas. How associates, they are ignorant, they should definitely be punished. But he also says, give them such long punishment that they are separated from me for a long time. So, four Kumaras say that they should come back to you in 3 lifetimes. The first life is Ravana and Kumbhakarna. The second is Shishupal and Tattva. So that's where so they are not ordinary people. So Shishupal who got liberation from Krishna is actually Jai and Vijay. So that was their second birth. So Naramuni explains that this is how Krishna, if you are absorbed in Krishna, this is the result. So actually this question is posed by who? Again, the same situation. One person is asking the question and someone is narrating this story, which is Parikshit Maharaj, as at the beginning of the canto, after going through the 6th canto, what happened in the 6th canto? In the 6th canto, ritual happened. And before that, why was that happening? That is because Bhadrasura is a demon that was killed by Indra. And Devi is trying very hard to get her sons back. And she is trying to, so then she does the Kumsavana ritual so that the 6 sons get born and they also they become the devotees of the Lord, 49 pieces of, right? 7 becomes 49 and they all go back to Godhead.
Was it Vrindaksura who was killed or
It was Hiranya.
Huh?
After those two sons got killed, she wanted to have more.
Yeah, that's when the 7 children take birth and they are also. But why that is happening? Because Krishna wants to favor his devotees. He wants to stay in the every time. He is favorable to the devotees, Devatas, and non-favorable to demons. Right? Hiranyakashipu is killed by Krishna, by Lord Vishnu. So, at the end of the 6th chapter, 6th canto, Parikshit Maharaj, the beginning of the 7th canto, has a question. Why is that Lord is favorable to partiality? It looks aptly partiality. Apparent partiality by the Lord towards the demigods or the devatas, and trying to kill the demons at the cost of devatas to reinstate Indra's position. So then, who's answering this question? Sukadeva Goswami. Sukadeva Goswami is narrating this story of giving the story of Narada and Yudhishthira Maharaj's conversation. During that conversation, Narada Muni explains the background of Jay and Vijay. That's when Hiranyakashipu and Yaksha come into the picture. And then Hiranyakashipu is teaching to his followers about the story of Yamaraj speaking to Suyagna's relatives. So that's the 4th nested story within this section. So when Parikshit Maharaj asked this question to Sukadeva Goswami is that Lord is not partial. It looks partiality, but due to the influence of goodness, there is a time when, due to the ignorance of goodness, influence of goodness, the demons flourish, demigods flourish. When there is goodness in the environment or in the atmosphere, there is the demigods that flourish. And there is influence of mode of ignorance and passion is more than the demons flourish. During the current times also, there are times when things are going normally. Like, see a lot of devotional activities happening all over the world. In the entire, in the entire world. If you go see places where, take this as an example itself, so much of devotion, so many openings of temples, so many programs, so many aartis through the day, so it's all positive. But at some point, there is a negative thing that happens that shakes their faith in the Lord. That sometimes, suddenly something. So these sudden situations are not happening constantly. Whereas devotional activities are happening constantly, right? It's doing like something or the other. Whereas when the demons, they also get there due to the influence of time, because this place is like that. It's dukkha and ashashvata. So there will be influence of negative things. So when that happens, these very shaking situations happen. So one should not be bewildered. It is influence of time. We don't know the background of why things are happening. All we can do is how we can positively contribute to any situation. Not say that lose faith in the Lord in those trying circumstances. So that's what happens when the influences of goodness is more, demons flourish. When the influence of mode of passion and ignorance is more, the demons, what did I say demons? The demigods flourish and the demons flourish. You got the point. So Parikshit, Yamaraj is actually giving this good knowledge to the relatives of Suyagna. And who is Yamaraj? Yamaraj is a Mahajan. He is one of the Mahajans. Actually, truth. He knows completely what is a Mahajan, who is a Mahajan, who knows completely about the Lord. So whenever they, its essence. So, and he is speaking to the relatives. And so in this situation we are seeing that, okay, let's go to the 57th verse now. Evam yuyam apashyantya atmapayam abuddhayah nayanam prapstya sochayantyah patim varshashaterapi
Evam yuyam pashyantya
प्राप्स्यति शोचन्त्या
पतिं वर्षाशतेरपि
एवं यूयं पश्यन्त्य
एवं यूयं आत्मपायम् अबुद्धयः
नैनं प्रपश्यत शोचन्त्या
न प्रपश्यत शोचन्त्या पतिं वर्षाशतेरपि एवं यूयम् अपश्यन्त्य
Atmapayam adu abud
आत्मपायम् अबुद्धयः नैनं प्राप्स्यत शोचन्त्या
Patim Varshashate
पतिं वर्षाशतेरपि एवं यूयम् अपश्यन्ता
एवं यूयम् आत्मापायम् अबोधयः
आत्मपायम् अबुद्धयः न प्राप्स्यत शोचन्त्या पतिं वर्षाशतेरपि एवं thus यूयं you अपश्यन्त्यः not seeing आत्मा अपायम् own death अबुद्धयः O ignorant ones not even him
प्राप्स्यता
you will obtain
शोचयन्त्यः
शोचयन्त्यः
lamenting for
waiting for
patim
patim
your husband
your husband
Varshasatai for 100 years
for 100 years
Api
even
translations and purpose by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Jai Shri Ram. Thus Yamaraj, in the guise of a small boy, told all the queens, "You are all so foolish that you lament, but do not see your way. Afflicted by a poor fund of knowledge, you do not know that even if you lament for your dead husband for hundreds of years, you will never get him back alive. And in the meantime, your lives will be finished."
Yamaraj once asked Maharaj Yudhishthira, "What is the most wonderful thing in the world?" Maharaj Yudhishthira replied, Mahabharata Vana Parva 3.116. Ahani ahani bhutani shantiyayam sheshasataram himasharam mataparam. Hundreds and thousands of living entities meet death at every moment. But a foolish living being nonetheless thinks himself deathless and does not prepare for death. This is the most wonderful thing in this world. Everyone has to die because everyone is fully under the control of material nature. Yet everyone thinks that he is independent, that whatever he likes he can do, that he will never meet death but live forever. And so-called scientists are making various plans by which living entities in the future can live forever. But while they are thus pursuing such scientific knowledge, Yamaraj in due course of time will take them away from their business of so-called research.
So this verse about that point where small boy Yamaraj is teaching the lessons to queens and telling them, even if you lament for 100 years, your husband is not going to come. Again, the same what we heard earlier, that the body is perishable, soul is eternal, so don't lament for something that is going to perish anyways. So what is the Prabhupada's quotation in this verse is about this Mahabharata verse where Yudhishthira is narrating that to the Yaksha. The Yaksha at one point when they were in the forest during the time when they were in the exile. That they were in the forest and they were very thirsty at one point and they couldn't find water anywhere and they were almost fainting, verge of fainting. So out of the 5 brothers, one brother, the youngest one goes, or Sahadev goes first to check where there is water and bring some water. So there is a pond and he immediately goes there. The Yaksha is over in that pond and they said, "First answer my questions, only then you can drink. Otherwise you will fall dead." They don't care. He will just drink the water and finally he will fall off dead actually. So looking for the brother, the other brother starts off Like that, all the four brothers, Nakula, Sahadev, Arjuna and Bhima, all of them come to the place and take the water without answering the questions. And then when Yudhishthira starts now looking, where are my brothers? He's very, very anxious. The younger brothers are gone and not to be traced. And when he comes there, he sees all of them are dead, fallen. So then the same voiceover comes, and then Yudhishthira actually has patience to answer, but even though he is under such distress, where the four brothers have fallen and he is very raged that this has happened because of this person, and on the top of it he is very thirsty. So even then he controls himself and he answers all the questions that they ask. So one of the questions he asks is, what's the most wonderful thing that you see in the world? For which this is the answer. He says, Ahani ahani bhutani gachanita yamajayam tesha stavaram ichanti kim ashayam ataparam. Most wonderful thing is that hundreds and thousands of entities meet death at every moment. But a foolish living entity nonetheless thinks themselves and does not prepare for death. This is the most wonderful thing, he says. When a death happens, the living entities, conditioned souls, think that death has happened to him, it won't happen to me. Either they are lamenting or praying to become better. They are not thinking that death will also strike them. This is a story that happened, right? Out of the two birds, one bird got stuck in the net of the hunter, and the male bird is lamenting. How come my wife got trapped? Oh my God, how can I take care of the children? Not thinking, next moment he'll be also struck. That's what happened. The hunter struck a male bird also, and it fell dead. So both of them are dead. So that's the situation in the world. Like we lament that two things happen when someone dies. Either that will not happen to me, or I will prepare for better. So these are two situations that happen in the conditioned life. So that's what he says. Yudhishthira marriage is the most wonderful thing. And nobody is thinking that how do devotees look at? So that's a calamity. When calamities are struck, the conditioned souls think that I'm going to overcome this calamity, or that calamity is not going to come to me. That's the true thought. This is for a conditioned souls. But how does a devotee process calamity?
We understand it as a Krishna's mercy.
Right. It is Krishna's mercy, is one understanding. Queen Kunti goes on further. She says, let this all calamities come to me. She says in her prayers, Vipada santu tatsasva tatra jagat guru bhavato darshanam yatsyad apuna darshanam. Let all those calamities come to me again and again. When they come again and again, what happens? We see you. And as a result of seeing you, what happens? Apunar bhavadarshana. There won't be bhavadarshana. Bhavadarshana means repeated birth and death. We will not get to have repeated birth and deaths by seeing you. So when there are more calamities, we see the Lord. And what is our regular, how do we approach calamities, as each one of you can explain? When there is a calamity, how do you approach the Lord? How do you approach the situation?
Complain.
You complain, okay. Anybody else?
I just cried.
Okay. You're going to Krishna.
Yeah.
Are you complaining to Krishna?
It depends, because we cry, we ask for Krishna's mercy too, but then we give up and we leave this and so this will, and we just can't do. It's like he's the doer, he's the controller, and we just,
So you go to Krishna somehow,
we end up to.
we end up going to. Anybody else?
To give some strength to face such kind of calamities in the future if they happens to them.
Yeah. So you go to Krishna. Are you going to Krishna, or you are trying to on your own strength?
We'll pray strength.
You ask for the strength. So ultimately you are going to Krishna.
I get very sarcastic, like I tell Krishna, did I forget about you or something for a second, so put me in the situation so I can think of you. So yeah, I do go to Krishna and
Myself, I think first I would try to research, is it my own mistake? That's because I am here, or what exactly is the reason for this? Like instead of worrying, I would like to see what options I might have done. Like if it's not in our hand, it's happened because of completely like disastrously without my involvement, then I will go to Krishna and see. Like,
Okay, so you first analyze the situation, try to do it on your strength, and you end up going to Krishna. So that's what devotees do. Anybody else want to share from the approach?
I have letter to Prabhupada.
You go to Prabhupada? That's even better. What else? Anybody else? So whenever there are calamities, devotees go to Krishna, and we don't ask for more calamities, but we go. That's how devotees. But the conditioned souls, they do try to mitigate or overcome and think this is not happening. Whereas Queen Kunti, she goes one step further. She asks for more such. So that you see, whenever there is a calamity, we enter to Krishna. And that's what we want. We want to go to Krishna. When there is everything positive, happy, and everything is fine, then do we even think, it's like business as usual, do we even think of Krishna more at that time? That's not.
yes.
It's automatically we start, Krishna prepares the canal for himself. He gets us ready mentally and emotionally to accept his potency, to accept his mercy. While reading one of the books, it was just like the pain or the distress or the calamity somewhere, it's a shock soul.
Is a shower of the soul.
Yeah. So it just kind of purifies us to be able to serve Krishna.
Yeah. So we actually approach Krishna more when there is calamity. So that we know, but we ask for it. But Queen Kunti, pure devotee of the Lord, asks for more of it, because we'll see you more when we approach the Lord, we take Him more, we pray more, we do more devotional service, and by doing that we are purified. Our soul is purified, and then there is repetition of birth, our punarbhava darshan. There is no punarbhava darshan. So that's what she's asking. And what happens when there are calamities or when distresses? We are deprived, we are impoverished, we are doing something which is what we are looking for. So that's exactly what Queen Kunti prays. She says, Janmaishwarya Shrita Shribir Evanamata Puman Naivarhati Abidatum Vai Vakinchana Gocharam. Vam Akinchana Gocharam means the one who is materially impoverished. Who is impoverished? The Lord is Akinchana Gochara, who is easily approachable, those who are materially impoverished. So when there is a calamity, we approach the Lord, means we are impoverished of that material situation. And Lord is more accessible to those people who approach Him in that situation. Is Akinchana Gochara. So that's actually a benediction. We have to look. They are favorable to Krishna consciousness. These distresses, these calamities are favorable. We don't necessarily ask for more, but they are not that bad, because they give us an opportunity to think of the Lord more, to go to Him more. And that way we are becoming more Krishna conscious, and that way Lord, He reciprocates with you with that. Later, you see the reciprocation of the Lord in your heart when you are actually feeling that distress. The Lord reciprocates. He says, I'm here, I'm not neglecting you. But this is where the place where you are, I can't help it, because this is the situation, is under the control of Maya Devi, which has some rules that have to be followed. So this happens, but I am there for you. Come to me. So Lord is more accessible to us during those situations. So it's a better. So we need to be able to approach the Lord, take the shelter of the Lord in those situations. So this is what a devotee. There's a difference between a non-devotee, a conditioned soul, and a devotee. That we take shelter of the Lord. Then the other story is about Hiranyakashipu. Again, we heard that he is a small boy. We want to read the purport. Purports are not too many in this section. So we can read the purport because the chapter is ending today. 58 is summary. Read the translation so you know the context and the purport.
Yes,
You have a question?
No, she's reading.
This is
Yeah,
confirmed.
please.
This is confirmed.
Do translation.
No.
Translation.
Yamaraj, in the form of a small boy, was instructing relatives surrounding the dead body of Sri Arjuna. Everyone was struck with wonder by his philosophical words. They could understand that every material is temporary, not continuing to exist. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 2.18. Antavanta ideha nityashoka sharirina. Is perishable, but the soul within the body is imperishable. Therefore, the duty of those advanced in knowledge in human society is to study the constitutional being of the imperishable soul and not waste the valuable time of human life in merely maintaining the body and not considering life's responsibility. Every human being should try to understand how the spirit soul can happy and where he can attain an eternal blissful life of knowledge. Human beings are meant to study these subject matters, not to be absorbed in caring for the temporary body, which is sure to change. No one knows when he will receive a human body again. There is no guarantee for according to one's worth. One may get any body, from that of a demigod to that of a dog. In this regard, Srila Madhvacharya comments,
Ashvatanta prakriti svatantro nitya eva cha yatha bhutascha para eva janardanaha.
only Janardana, the Supreme Personality of God, has ever existed, but his creation, the material world, is temporary. That everyone who is captivated by the material energy and absorbed in thinking, I am this body and everything belonging to this body is mine, is an illusion. One should think only of being eternally a part of Janardana. One's endeavor in this world, especially in this human form of life, should be to attain the association of Janardana by going back to God.
Who would like to read?
Oh, any problems with it?
No.
600 problem.
Santosh.
In this material world, the
Read the translation first.
Therefore, none of you should be afraid for those of the body, whether your own or those of others. Only exist as one make bodily distinctions, thinking for mine. Who are the others? What is mine? What is for others? In this material world, the conception of self-preservation is the first law of nature. According to this conception, one should be interested in his personal safety and should turn to society, friendship, love, nationality, community, and so on, which have all developed because of the bodily conception of life, lack of knowledge of the spirit soul. And this is called Agyan. As long as human society is in darkness and ignorance, men will continue to build arrangements in the bodily conception of me, so life. This is described by Prahlad Maharaj as Brahm. In the materialistic conception, modern civilization makes enormous arrangements for huge roads, houses, mills, and factories, and this is man's conception of the advancement of civilization. People do not know, however, that at any time they may be kicked out of the sea and forced to accept bodies that have nothing to do with the enormous houses, places, roads, and automobiles. Therefore, when Arjuna was thinking in terms of his bodily relationship with his kinsman, Krishna immediately chastised him, saying, Kutasva Kashmalam Idam Vishmi Samupasthitam and Anarya Chishtam. This bodily conception of life is between the Anaryas, the non-Aryans who are not advanced in knowledge. An Aryan civilization is a civilization advanced in spiritual knowledge. Not merely by stamping oneself as an Aryan does not become an Aryan. To keep oneself in the deepest darkness in spiritual knowledge, at the same time claim to be an Aryan, is a non-Aryan position. In this connection, Srila Madhvacharya draws scholars from the Brahma Vaivuran
देहागतो जीवा साहि नाशं न गच्छति
तथा शत्रुविनाशं च स्वनाशे शोषं कुतः
देहानि व्यवहितं तु जीवेषु प्रविज्ञानः हतात्मा विवेशिस्तु वासुदेवस्थितया शत्रुनाश तथा ज्ञानानाशो नाय कथनचः.
The purpose is that as long as we are in this human form of body, our duty is to understand the soul in the body. The body is not the self, we are different from the body, and therefore there is no question of friends, enemies, or responsibilities in terms of the bodily conception of life. One should not be very anxious about bodies changing from childhood to boyhood, from boyhood to old age, and to apparent annihilation. Rather, one should be seriously concerned about the soul within the body and how to release the soul from the material clutches. The living entity within the body is never annihilated, therefore one should surely that whether one has many friends or many enemies, his friends cannot harm, and his enemies cannot do any harm. One should know that he is a spirit soul, aham brahmasmi, and that's the constitutional position of the soul is unaffected by the changes of the body. In all circumstances, everyone as a spirit soul must be devotee of Lord Vishnu and should not be concerned with bodily relationships, whether or with enemies. One should know that neither we ourselves nor enemies in the bodily conception of life are ever killed.
So this verse, this translation, purports about Arjuna's being put into that situation where he runs for his relatives. He does not want to fight the battle because his relatives will be perished in the battle. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? What is that word? Kutasvam kashmalam idam vishane samputishtam anarya jushtam. Aryan is a learned man. Anarya is opposite to it. Jushtam is who is in that situation. So how have these impurities come upon you? That you are thinking in the bodily conception of life. All these people are going to exist eternally. Nobody can, and the enemies, all the friends can be annihilated. And what Krishna says, what Prabhupada also says in one of the places is, Mare Krishna Rakhe Krishna Mare Be. That means, even if you have tried so much, there are best of the best medical facilities available. If a person has to die, no doctor can save him. And when a person has to survive, even with the meager medical facilities or medical facilities, the person survives. So we have seen a lot of those situations, right? Many people could survive because of Lord's mercy, could not survive even though they were given best of medical. So this is something that's not in the hands of people, right? That's totally up to Krishna. That is, Krishna wants to save someone, nothing can stop. So similarly, what is like enemies and friends? They are about to be gone anyways. Last verse.
Sri Narada Muni continued. The mother of Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha heard the instructions of Hiranyakashipu along with her daughter-in-law, Vrishabhanu, Hiranyakashipu's wife. Hiranyaksha's wife. She then forgot her grief over her son's death and thus engaged her mind and attention in understanding the philosophy of life. Purport: when a relative dies, one certainly becomes very much interested in philosophy, but when the funeral ceremony is over, once again becomes attentive to materialism. Even Daityas, who are mystic persons, sometimes think of philosophy when some relative is dead. Then the technical term for this attitude of the materialistic person is samsana. Smasana Vairagya. Attachment in ceremony or place of cremation, As found in Bhagavad Gita, 4 classes of men receive an understanding of spiritual life and God. Artha, the Jijnasu, the inquisitive, Arthati, one who desires material gains, and Jnani, one who is searching for knowledge. Especially when one is very much distressed by material conditions, one becomes interested in God. Therefore, Kunti Devi said in her prayers to Krishna that she preferred distress to a happy mood of life. In the material world, one who is very happy forget Krishna or God, but sometimes if one is actually poised but in distress, he remembers Krishna. Queen Kunti Devi therefore preferred distress because it is an opportunity for remembering Krishna. When Krishna was leaving Kunti Devi for his home country, Kunti Devi regretfully said that she was better off in distress because Krishna was always present, as now that the Pandavas were situated in their kingdom. Krishna was going away. For a devotee, distress is an opportunity to remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead constantly. Thus, the end of Bhakti Vedanta purports of the 7th canto, 2nd of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Hiranyakashipu, King of the Demons.
Jai.
Venkatesh Bhagavatam, the king of the
Every deep realization which is temporary,
Smasana Vairagya.
Smasana.
No, it's not like that. Some materialists have that realization. Crematorium of a relative, when the relative dies, they have that attachment for that time. Until that time, they're coming back home. Once home, everything was gone. That's called Smashan Vairagya. In other words, there are 3-4 types of Vairagyas are there. One is Smashan Vairagya, one is called Kata Vairagya, one is called Falgu Vairagya. But we should have one Vairagya, Yukta Vairagya. That is, we will use everything in the service of the Lord. Once Yukta Vairagya is the best, that is detached, knowledge and detachment. So we will use everything in the service of the Lord. The situation is favorable, conducive for Krishna consciousness. That is Yukta Vairagya. Smashan Vairagya is when you are returning from the crematorium to the home. We have very, very dejected feelings during that time. Only that lasts for that much. That's called Smashan Vairagya. And Markata Vairagya is monkey-like Vairagya. Monkeys look very detached. If you look at the behavior of monkey, they look very detached. They just reject their companions, but they are the most lusty. So that's called monkey Vairagya, Markata. And Falgu Vairagya is, again, that can be comparable to the Vairagya. Falgu Vairagya is immature Vairagya or show put up Vairagya. Like, we want to, no, I don't want this because it will entangle me. It's necessary. I hope you got the point. What is Falgu Vairagya? It's not coming from a deep maturity. It's immature Vairagya. I don't want to take good clothes because it will put me into limelight, or I will be feeling so great about it, so that won't help me to make progress. That may be good, but you can't last with that situation for a long time. Or riches that can be used in the service of the Lord, like technology. Show some of the examples that you have for Falgu Vairagya.
not going getting detached from the material world.
Yeah, relationships. No, my father, mother, these are my they're going to obstruct me in my path. I will not get it because I will create hindrance for myself. So these are all Falgu Vairagyas, not having a deeper understanding of the things. All our relatives are also our instruments that can help us become more Krishna conscious. By serving them or going through those circumstances, either we get more detached or more Krishna conscious. So we go with what has been given to us by the Lord. Not get immaturely detached from that. That's Falgu. So every can pray for prayer. She's praying for more because during the distress itself, only will pray to the Lord more, and that's favorable. Any questions? Any further thoughts? Yes, no.
At the end of Mahabharata, when Vishnu Padama was lying on the bed of and Pandavas went there and Krishna also, they were went there to see what they learned at the time.
Lamentation is important. Lamentation, otherwise we are hard-hearted. We are not hard souls. So Krishna is not hard-hearted. How can his devotees be like that? Krishna also dies. He gets emotional. So devotees are also like that. Lamentation is important to let go, but not become stuck there. And Yudhishthira Maharaj actually was blaming himself that he is the reason for that massacre happened. And that's where Krishna could have given that knowledge to Yudhishthira Maharaj, that Krishna is pure devotee, was a Mahajan, Vishnu, to give those instructions to glory. When Krishna does things, he does for multi-purpose. So in order for his devotee to be glorified, in order for Yudhishthira to hear from his grandfather, who was very dear to them, and also Yudhishthira was put in that circumstances just so that this can be heard. So it's multi-purpose when Krishna does things. So that's not lamentation. It's a pastime, you can say, but it is not. They were stuck in that situation, they need to come out so that we can get those lessons. But lamentation is important. That it is that separation, they're feeling the separation. It's important for them to go through that process.
So whether as you are reading like the Kuntima and Spirit and all this, then it kind of shows that like the instructions of Krishna. But somewhere I also feel like when I'm more happy, only then feel more enthusiastic to do please and or to go out for services for very now.
That's just, you're not like those when we are happy, okay, I'm complacent, I don't want to do much. It's good. Be like that. We need more people like that. To spread positivity. Not like only when sad we go to Krishna. That's next level. She's asking for more, we are asking for more. But this is at next level.
Jai.